No, we got 30 seconds. All right, we can go live now, 7 o'clock.
He's fine.
All righty, 7 o'clock, guys. Oh, I don't have the thunder. Darn it all. All right, so hi. Welcome to this meeting of the Warren Astronomical Society. I don't see any new faces here. In suspense with that. Let's do the roll call. Hi, I'm Bob Chumley, the president.
Ken Bertin. Dale Parton, first vice president.
Tina Long, card carrying member.
Welcome. Angela Vita.
Mike Kurgan.
Bob Berta.
Cheryl Kaplan.
Alan Cap. Mike McGowan. Our kids here.
Jeff McCloud.
All right. So we are meeting at Macomb Community College. And let's see, we're doing our roll call. So announcement for snack breaks. We need somebody to take up snacks for the Macomb December and January. Both of them in January?
Possible, yes.
But so one of them in December and two of them in January. So if you'd be interested, pardon me?
January.
Right. Yeah, Macomb. So we need December Macomb.
So Macomb meeting in December, right?
There isn't?
No.
Okay, well, never mind.
Oh, don't bring.
Volunteer.
I like this club so much. Let's have one.
Volunteer.
Yep. Need a volunteer for January Macomb. All right, so elections were held last month, or last Cranbrook, a couple weeks ago. Our entire board got reelected, and some of us are at our 3-year term limit. So next year we'll be needing some new board members, but that's a year away. Banquet. We need 35 people. Do we know how many we have, David?
I think it's 25.
We have 25, so we need some more people.
I'm gonna be giving him cash tonight.
Okay, so we have a couple more tonight. I will be sending out an email blast tomorrow about the banquet, so hopefully you'll get some more signups then. And you can do it via PayPal, so that was really easy. See, our speaker for the banquet is Nicole Zellner. She is a solar system ambassador, and she works at Albion College doing lunar sample studies, amongst other things. She's pretty amazing. Banquet tickets are $35 in person, $40 at the door. Calendars, we have 11 of them here. And David, do you have any left?
I don't have any on hand, no.
Oh, wow. So we have 11 calendars left. So few and far between. So if you want a calendar, talk to the man back there. Of September. Of the clubs, just to make sure the communications get back and forth between. And so if, pardon me? What?
Involved is being a rep.
For GLAC?
Yeah.
Not.
For the astronomy at the beach, blah, blah, blah.
Not really. It helps to attend to the meetings and just to make sure that the two people know what's going on. And there was a problem with getting club information, getting information back to the clubs last year. So, okay. It's an hour and a half meeting and maybe a little extra stuff. So yeah, no biggie. And those GLAC meetings are the second Monday of the month. And I attended the last one only to find out that was in the Zoom going like, where are you guys? Got an email. Oh yeah, we're not having it this month after astronomy at the beach. So enjoy your day off on played computer games. Oh well. Okay, so Wasp wearables are purchasable again from Mark Kedzier back over there. You can see what's available in our newsletter. Okay, quick officer reports. I have a conundrum. My 4.5-year-old granddaughter asked me the other day, or asked my wife the other day, why can she see the moon in the sky during the day? And I'm like, yikes. Yeah. I go, how? Huh? Yeah. Yeah, but okay. 4.5 years old, how do you explain moon phases, orbits? I'm like, so
At least she's smart enough to ask.
at least she was asking. Well, okay, then Jeff says, well, why wouldn't you just say that?
Hey, said, why do I see this in the daytime? Sun's shining on it.
So
Good answer.
So I need to answer my granddaughter about that. I'll probably be writing about that in be- just because. So Dale, any news? Dale, I know what Dale's gonna say.
Okay. Well, as usual, I'm pleading for people to volunteer to give presentations, either short or long. I'd also like to say that next month, our own Jeff McLeod, where is he? Back there, is going to be giving a short presentation based on his visit to Plane Wave Instruments. They had an open house and he learned a lot of neat stuff.
Yeah, I got that.
So he's going to tell us about that. And then Cranbrook has a planetarium, and we're going to have a planetarium show. Mike Narlock is going to be showing us a presentation. And just a reminder, no Macomb meeting next month.
Yeah, we have Cranbrook meeting and a banquet, but no Macomb meeting. All right. So David, what's going on quickly with the treasury?
Well, let's see. In our checking account, we've got $23,050.14. PayPal, we got about $532. Cash box, we got oddly enough over $900. So I'm going to be making a visit to the bank this weekend. Yeah. So that's it with the accounts and cash.
All right, thank you. Let's see, our secretary Charlie couldn't be with us tonight. Jeff, what's going on with outreach? Your turn already.
Our secretary.
He could not be here tonight. He is depending on this being recorded.
Pull up my notes here. So since the last meeting, you and your wife were at, what was it? What was the acronym again?
Macomb Reads.
How'd it go?
Is it really? Oh my God.
Yeah,
There were so many people there.
cool. Yearly? Are they gonna do it
Yeah,
again?
they're gonna invite us back next year.
I'll be involved.
And your simulator would have been a real big hit.
Yeah, sometimes that works against me.
Yeah.
I didn't do anything. Mark was at the Macomb Civic Center. Oh, Warren Civic Center Library. It was a library, okay. And he had 25 adults and children look at Saturn, Venus, and a near first quarter moon through his and my old telescope. Now I missed that scope. Nothing upcoming on the books right now. So yeah,
All right.
just Stargate. Go to Stargate.
Today, I and the president of the Oakland Club gave a talk up in right up here in Cranbrook. And to Covington School, we had 180 kids there. It was an awesome presentation.
Will you email me?
Yeah.
Okay. I will get
Wow.
the next issue.
Get me in contact with them. I want to give a presentation. I want to do my tour of the solar system in front of those kids. All right, so let's see. Vichalia is not here. Riyadh, what's going on with Stargate?
Yeah, hi. We had an open house on October 26th. We were there from about 6:30 to almost 3:30 in the morning. We had a lot of people that came in, and we observed many, many deep sky objects. We looked at planets. We observed Saturn, Neptune, Jupiter, Mars. We also looked at some double stars. So we had a really busy night, and we had some scopes set up outside as well as the Observatory, of course, the 8-inch refractor was open. So next open house is this Saturday, November 23rd. So hopefully we'll see everybody out there. I'm not sure if it's going to be cleared. Right now, it kind of doesn't look like it, but sometimes you never know. And we're going to be open from 5:30 because, of course, the time difference, and it's getting dark earlier. So if it's cloudy, I'll be there for a couple of hours. If it's clear, we'll be there for a while. Thank you.
Alrighty. Let's see, David, maybe he is not on. All right. So getting into astronomy news, let's see, I'm gonna share this thing. I just saw this showed up in my email today. Share, Zoom, share that. So first close-up picture of a star outside our galaxy. They used the very large telescope interferometer, and this is a red supergiant in the Large Magellanic Cloud. And what they think they're seeing here, this is an artist representation next to it. The picture, what they think is you've got the rings of material sloughing off of this red giant, and that's what they're imaging there. And so that's pretty darn cool. Yeah, pretty. It's really, and they interferometers. Everything is interferometers these days. So let's see. Exoplanets, we've got 5,787 confirmed, 7,341 candidates, and this is interesting. The archive has added data for Barnard Star B, a planet discovered orbiting the closest single star to our sun. System is located just 6 light years from Earth, and the planet is 20 times closer to the star than Mercury is to the sun, which makes it too hot to support water. Yeah, you think it's probably a ball of lava.
Red star?
No, it's a sun-like star. Yeah, single and a solo. I don't know if you guys saw the SpaceX launch, but the Starship Capture #2 was a failure. But the orbit, yeah, you know what? How jaded is that? I remember when the shuttle launched, I was up at Michigan Tech. The first launch, the entire common area was filled with people. The second launch had about this many people, and the third launch had me. But yeah, but anyway, the Starship capture failed. It crashed in the ocean intentionally. But the
Intention.
yeah, well, whatever they chose not to try to capture it, so they landed it in the water.
It was a problem.
But
landing pad.
oh, is that it?
Yeah.
Didn't know that. But the orbiter re-entered successfully and hovered and crash landed in the ocean like feet from a buoy, which took pictures of it. Yeah, it was really cool. So and it took pictures of the thing just hovering right there, and then but that was in the Indian Ocean. Where did that land? But the heat shield, they redid the heat shield and it survived this time. So interesting news. At least part of it worked. So we're at solar maximum right now, right? And I saw this on spaceweather.com today. Wanted stories from farmers. This year, strong geomagnetic storms have wreaked havoc on GPS guided agricultural equipment. It's been driving some farmers crazy. Are you one of them? Please contact Dr. Tony Phillips. I have a link here. But I'm like, it's the first time I've heard of that. And I don't know if any of you remember the Tom Selleck movie from the 1980s called Runaway, which the opening scene was runaway robotic agricultural machines. And that was a more sinister reason than sunspots, though. But so yeah, apparently Solar Max is messing up GPS guided agricultural equipment, which I didn't even know existed. But so that's pretty cool. We have let's see, bring up these. Share Where's my share? There's my share. Where is my? All right. I don't know where that window is. I'm not sharing it. Anyway, we have a lot of sunspots. Show it to our audience here. This is the Solar Dynamics Observatory. And there are the sunspots today. The sun is very few and small sunspots, but I'll expect more later. So Riyadh, what's going on with T Corona Borealis? Anything?
No, still nothing. Last time we looked for it, but we continue to look.
Right. So do we have any observing? Hey, Bob, you want to come up and talk about that image? All right. So let's I want that. Go away. Let's see.
Bring it up.
Yeah, I gotta bring it up here.
I'll
there.
preface by saying I didn't take this picture, but I got permission to show it. Angelo has two grandsons, or twins, right? Twin grandsons. And they're second year in college now?
Yep.
Second year in college. I guess they were on break and they went to Zion National Park and they went out up to Zion, looked in the sky, said, I can a little bit almost see the Milky Way there, right? So, well, let's see if we get a picture of it. They handheld a cell phone up, a Samsung cell phone. That's what they got. The comet is, there's the comet there.
That's okay. Yes, that's. We got a lot of light pollution. We're not the lights. The bottom.
There you go. The thing is phenomenal. These stars, are nice round points. This, what the phones have got nowadays, this is a Samsung, the same one I have, and Apple does the same thing. I think when the one I have, when you hold up to the sky, what it says, you will need to hold the camera steady, hold steady. You don't put it on, but just hold it steady. And I think what it's doing is shooting a whole bunch of real fast images, and then it's automatically stacking and aligning in the camera. So that to me is just phenomenal. You can do that handheld with a cell phone camera. So anyway,
Got some meteors,
yeah, there's a couple meteor streaks on. You can see them on there, but if you
planes.
can see the meteor streaks up.
Yep.
Yeah, there's meteor streaks here, and then down here moving up. Down here, I think those are planes going by.
No, that was about a half hour after sunset.
Pardon? Yeah,
Oh,
it's about a half hour after sunset. So
Look
that's
at the reds.
near the bottom part.
Wow.
There's more light coming out. That's what it is. The sun's still putting enough light out. It's picking it up. To me, that's amazing. So when people tell me, I wish I could get pictures like you astrophotographers get, when you get stuff like that with a handheld cell phone, that just blows me away.
It's amazing. Northern Lights, you use it,
Yeah.
you get a great shot.
Yeah, everybody, you're get great pictures of the aurora, northern lights recently. Just take your cell phone, pick it up there, and even though your eyes just pick out maybe a slight haze, the cell picks up all the colors and everything perfectly. Just amazing.
All right. I see David Levy has joined us. David, hi there.
Hi, sorry to be late,
Oh, you're fine.
but here I am.
Well, you have some poetry for us?
I certainly do. Would you like it now?
Please.
Okay, last Saturday, I attended the grand opening of Lowell Observatory's new Discovery Center. And it is a museum, and it represents the most major improvement in communicating science with the public and with children since Carl Sagan's Cosmos 44 years ago. I was flabbergasted. It was so good, so exciting, and so wonderful. I was invited to read a poem at that opening, which I'd like to repeat for you right now. It was Wendy's favorite poem. And as I gave the introduction, I said that, and there were about 1,000 people there, and I figured that most of them had never known Wendy. So I explained that Wendy was my wife and that she passed away a couple of years ago. And then I said, may she rest in peace. there was a gasp in the audience that really got to me. And I stopped. And I kind of, my little David brain said, just keep on going. And so I kept on going. And I told her that this particular poem, the end of the Song of Honor by Ralph Hodgson, a 1917 poem that was written just 2 years after Percival Lowell passed away himself. And I told them how she and I, when we used to do a radio show together, always ended with this poem. And whenever I ended a lecture reading that poem, and I'd look down towards her, and she'd be mouthing it with me. And in the last lectures that I gave, I would always invite her to come to the podium and recite it with me. I cannot do that today, nor can I do it anymore, but I can recite the poem. Here it goes. I stood and stared. The sky was lit. The sky was stars all over it. I stood. I'm not lying. Without a wish, without a will, I stood upon that silent hill and stared into the sky until my eyes were blind with stars, and still I stared into the sky. Thank you very much for letting me do this.
Thank you, David. So what you just said there reminded me. We had our full moon meetup at the Vatican Observatory Foundation on Monday, and one of the speakers, she interviewed several astronauts, and she says, I can't name any names, but this one astronaut was by himself in the command module. So there's not many choices there. And he says what he did when he was on the dark side of the moon, he turned off all the lights in the command cabin and dark adjusted his eyes. And he said he looked out the window and he was unprepared for the number of stars that he could see. So that's pretty darn cool.
We need to find out which one that was.
I'm pretty sure it was Collins. But I'll find out from her. I don't know why she couldn't. I guess it's being written into a book, so she couldn't really be specific about some of the things. But that I just never thought about that. I mean, I've had kind of that experience up at Michigan Tech or the Upper Peninsula in 2000 when I took my Dob up there and set it up and looked up and went, I can't find my way around. So, but I just can't imagine, on the dark side of the moon where nothing's going to be darker than that. So we have any other observing reports? Anybody see anything interesting in the sky? What'd you see?
Well, it's kind of interesting. Not just what I saw yesterday, which was a dramatic decrease in the number of sunspots.
Mm-hmm.
Coming back, but there has been a big decrease. But over the course of time, I got a letter just last week from the American Association of Variable Star Observers, and it was at another Zoom session I was at where I casually mentioned that I've been observing sunspots since 1961. And they said, if that is true, then you are probably the organization's most long-time solar observer. And to get data from one person over a lifetime covering 5 or 6 cycles is very, very difficult. So they want me to go through my entire life's readings of the sun and record the whole thing, which I can do. I have the readings. So I'm now working on that. And I'm still doing the sun every day. Today's reading was about 4 groups and maybe about 20 sunspots. It's coming down, but it's going back up again. We're not done with this cycle yet.
So this guy here is a real astronomer. He logs his observations. How many observations have I logged? About that many. Okay, any other?
I've got a.
I'm not a real astronomer. I'm a stargazer. A pretty
Star-
dedicated one, but I'm just a stargazer.
I got a fairly nice picture of
That's
the lunar eclipse, the partial eclipse.
bring it up here. See if I can show our watching audience.
The night shot, and this was right outside my house. Where do you
See,
take
right
it?
here.
Do what you want.
Let's see if I can do that. Let's see.
I took it with my cell phone, believe it or not. It came up great.
And that a glare there.
You can see the shadow of the Earth touching the moon at the top.
Since you can see it,
Yeah.
you're still David Stoll.
Yeah. And so how do I get? Hello. How do I get front here? Let's see. Pin myself. Pin. There we go.
There it is. Very cool. And I was sitting outside my house.
You can see the curvature.
Can't-
Detect the curvature of the earth there.
Right.
Yeah.
And it went right across, and that was kind of cool.
Oh, you can see our audience in there in the reflection.
You in your backyard.
Right by my.
I do not have a good angle on that. There we go. That's better.
It's close, so it was a big boom, you know.
That's
And,
beautiful.
it just like that, and I took the camera up, and I said, I don't know whether I can get this or that. I got it. So sometimes you get
Very
lucky.
cool.
And also I got some northern lights also. What's the camera? Oh, I got it's this an Apple. Here's one that I can show you that's kind of cool.
What you
We
got?
had that comet that came by,
Yes.
and what we did is Soho showed you the comet right there at the right. Can you see it? All right. And then later on, we caught it. See if I can get this, the other one. It's later. Yeah, there it is.
See if I can find that animation because I know they had several of those. Yeah.
There's the sun in the middle there, obviously with the shield on it, and there's the comet going right across. Pretty cool. That was from Soho, by the way. That's you
Yep.
found that on the line, and very cool. And I got one chance to see that. Went out with some friends, and we saw it. The problem we had with this with this comet was
What you got? What you got?
Michigan.
Took this picture through my telescope.
Nice.
It was September 11th.
There we go. Kind of glary. Yeah, it's kind of glary here. It's on a cell phone.
My camera, it's
It's really got good craters.
it was September 11th.
Zoom in on the top here. Look at that. Look at those craters.
That's very good.
Through my I took this through my telescope.
I got to get a camera mounted. I want to take some pictures through now that I have it repaired. Any other observing reports? All right. Well, I'll tell you what, let's do our snack break and bio break and reconvene at 8 o'clock for our feature presentation. See you in a half hour. Go get a bio. Go do bio. Go get a munchie. Go get a drink.
Lucky. You know, sometimes you get lucky.
What'd you get?
I'm going to use this as my speaking thing. So
You can try it. Try it. I could try it. Granddaughter. Oh my God. The granddaughter. I got your PowerPoint here.
oh, you do have it.
Yeah, right there.
All right.
It's
Is it the new one? Is it the new? I want to see if it's the new one or not.
It's the one Dale just sent me.
Oh, is it the new one? Go all the way down. All the way down to the last one. Last one. That's what I wanted to know. I just want to see if that was enough. That was
Okay.
enough. Okay, and I got a whole bunch of stuff. And I'm going to use my speeching thing here because this doesn't come out as well as it should.
Do you
So we'll just run it.
tell me what I can do? What I can do is since I've got two screens here, I can have this screen shared and you can have the presenter notes here if you want.
If you can do that,
I can
that'd be
do that.
great.
I can do that.
Do it. We're good.
Let's see.
Absolutely.
Let's see. Do
Just the notes would be great for me. Oh, if you can do that, I would be, that would be just fabulous.
and All right, keep. So now I go away. Slideshow beginning.
One of the ways, yeah, there you go. It's good. This is nothing on that way.
Notes.
Move to one page and see where it goes.
Now I'm gonna want this. So your face is over here being presented. Change your name, change my name to Ken Bertin.
You can do whatever you want. I know who I am. Go to the next page.
Yeah, I want to get it shared here. Oh, yeah, why don't we?
The other way. Wrong way.
Oh, yeah.
No, that's being presented, that's the present, okay, so just go down. And Zoom. Share. Screen two. That is the presenter view. Talker view, so your picture's up there,
Right?
presenter view,
And then what I'll do, and then there it is.
mouse back.
That's perfect.
Mouse.
Just hit the mouse. Move it forward.
Yeah, mouse wheel scroll.
So proud.
Okay. Then I move it back. That's the next page. Good. We're good to go. I love it. We're good. Love it. Perfect. That'll do the trick. I'm perched.
Message.
It's
More.
okay.
You're too easy on people. I'm asking for a volunteer to do this in January.
Yeah.
This is the last meeting here before we're back here in January. And so what she requests is that you
Get somebody.
get somebody, and we can't have the presentation until we have the volunteer.
Oh, I got it, okay.
You get to be the bad guy.
I can do it. Really do. I have a problem doing it.
No.
By the way, I didn't update the 13 eclipses. It's a ridiculous.
Are you the grand poobah here?
Yes.
Tim and
Kind of.
Marlene Stolarski, we just joined. Nice to meet you. So we're first time here and
About us.
actually I was here long time ago. And you guys were way ahead of me then, and I didn't catch up anyway, so I'm hoping maybe we'll get some benefit out of things, because I've got a ETX 90,
Really?
LX 90,
Wow.
which I way overbought. And then thinking that this is too big and heavy, I got an X-Star 6. And where our house is located,
once I sight in on one side of the house, I can't see anything on the other side. So it's a bad situation. Anyway, because the house is in the way of, looking that way. But, so maybe we can head out north, seeing that we're not too far from it. We're on 24-mile road now. But
Oh my God.
yep. I'm storing his stuff.
See Chuck and eight.
They,
Thing in December 20th.
Wow.
December 20th.
And, I'm a huge science fiction fan. And in 2014, the North American Science Fiction Convention was held at the Renaissance Center downtown Detroit. And the con committee got me science job. My job to find science speakers, and I had Chuck give a talk convention, and he talked, one of the slides he showed just absolutely freaking blew me away. It showed side by side chlorophyll and hemoglobin. You know what the difference between those two is? Magnesium and iron. Their structure is almost completely identical. I'm looking at it. Oh my God! And
so we're not too far from plants. Is that it?
well, we have something percent the same DNA as bananas.
So in a sci-fi convention, monster movies are right there with it.
Yeah.
The pods became people. There, it wasn't too hard. I'm not too far off from those guys either. I mean, even though I'm a generation removed, I'm about as goofy as they.
I met my boss, brother guy, comes to mind.
Pardon me?
My boss, his brother guy, comes to mind. He is the director of the Vatican Observatory. Flag over there, but he's a huge science fiction fan. We have tons of mutual friends in common. And when I went to my first convention, everybody said, well, astronomy. And so I met him at a science fiction convention. The first convention I met, he was curator of meteorites at the Vatican Museum. And he talked about how they were studying now he's my boss. And so yeah.
Whole world, but you wouldn't want to paint it, huh?
We have tons of mutual friends in common, and we right now we have every month we have a full moon meetup, and we have either observatory staff talk or we have friends come in and talk. And we had this one again forever. Our friends have known her forever. I've never met her, so but. She was talking. She's been with several astronauts, and they're talking about their spirituality and that kind of stuff when it comes with their experiences in space.
Yeah, that'll do it.
And yeah, but I found out her husband is somebody I've been trying to get in contact with for all this long. Glenn Swanson, he's an active historian. And he worked at the rocket range, which the Tippecanoe Peninsula from the mid-60s to the early 70s. NASA had a site and they were launching sounding rockets, and a couple made it into space from Michigan. So
There's a lot of things that happen that you're not really well aware of, that the public isn't. And I mean, like, how many decades ago did they plan to put ELP? What they communication with the submarine to ferry the antenna in the UP. So
didn't they do that? I thought they did that.
They scuttled it because at that point the technology. Well, we don't want to take all your time, but just want to introduce ourselves.
Joined Conflict 20. I was a board member, and I've been a board member. Give us That's what that involves. Yeah. That was explaining your words.
My dad is asking about like.
Yeah. Oh, you heard about it. Big lot.
People, you know, I'll just. I just covered, eight. So, and I saw them. Yeah.
Okay, 2-minute warning.
My brother.
All right, it is 8 o'clock. It's time for the main presentation. Yeah, really. All right, welcome back. Station identification. This is the Warren Astronomical Society, and now it's time for our main presentation. And when you get that, Dale, I'll get that, Dale. And you do the introductions.
You had something else to say.
Oh yeah, we do. We said we need somebody to do munchies for the January Macomb meeting, and I'm told I can't start the presentation until we have somebody. So there. Anybody want to do munchies for January?
I'll do it.
Thank you, Angelo. All right. Get that? All right. January Macomb. January Macomb. All right. Yeah, munchies. All right.
Thank you. Okay, today, Ken Bertin is our speaker. He's sort of been around the club for a while. He's been an amateur astronomer for over 65 years, 72 years.
The War of 1870.
He's six. Okay, since for 72 years. He's been the president of this organization and the vice president. One of his specialties is going to eclipses. He updated me just a few minutes ago. He says he's been to 13 total solar eclipses. Were all of those visible or were they clouded out?
15, 2 and we got caught.
He went to 15, 2 were clouded out.
It's just another eclipse. It's the clouds going in front of it.
Yeah. 4 annular eclipses.
Now it's 6, but that's okay.
Now it's 6. 6 transits of Mercury. And I know it cannot have been more than 2 transits of Venus, or you're a lot older than I thought.
Planning to be in 2117 one. Yeah, sure.
He's planning to be in the 2117 one, he says. 15 lunar eclipses. You want to update that?
Well, there's been more than total. I don't think that's it.
Okay. And he also enjoys doing presentations to schools and other civic organizations. So a lot of activity. Busy guy when it comes to astronomy. His presentation tonight is on Percival Lowell. Are you going to claim you're old enough to remember him?
Well, he died in 1916.
So you're not going to claim
Never
met him.
I did meet Clyde Turnbull.
Yeah, he says he did meet Clyde Trumbo. I did too. Okay, Ken, have at it. Thank you.
I've been looking forward to this. This is an interesting astronomer in a lot of ways. He was not only an interesting astronomer from a standpoint of being contributory to astronomy, but he also made some mistakes through the time. He was vilified by the astronomy community for some of the things that he did. He was had a history of a family that is amazing as far as people that are involved, and we'll go over that when we get into this. Percival Lowell was a very, very wealthy man, and he used his wealth in many different ways as well. beyond just astronomy. So let's get started with this. I got to make sure I do this right. What did I do?
I don't know.
Oh, there we go. Oops. Now what's it? Oh, I see what I did. Okay. That's good to know.
I think he looks
I'm ready.
like you.
I'm good. I'm ready. All right. Here we go. Percival Lowell was born on March 13th of 1855. Passed away on November the 12th in 1916, was an American businessman, author, mathematician, and astronomer who fueled speculation that there were canals on Mars and further theories of a ninth planet within the solar system. He founded the Lowell Observatory in Flagstaff, Arizona, and formed the beginning of the effort that led to the discovery of Pluto 14 years after his passing. There we go. Percival Lowell, again, was born on March 13th, 1855, in Boston, Massachusetts, the first son of Augustus Lowell and Catherine Bigelow Lowell, a member of the Brahmin family, which was a very, very prominent Lowell family, very prominent in the East. His siblings included the poet Amy Lowell, the educator and legal scholar Abbott Lawrence Lowell, and Elizabeth Lowell Putnam, and early activists in prenatal care. They were the great-grandchildren of John Lowell, and on their mother's side, the grandchild of Abbott Lawrence. Augustus Lowell, who was born on January 15th, 1830, was a wealthy Massachusetts industrialist, philanthropist, horticulturist, and civic leader. A member of the Brahmin family, again, that we talked about. He was born in Boston to John Emery Lowell and his second wife, Elizabeth Cabot Putnam. His great-grandfather, John Lowell, was among the first judges for the newly created federal courts appointed by Presidents George Washington and John Adams. Augustus's elder brother, Judge John Lowell, would be appointed to hold the same seats held by his great-grandfather by President Abraham Lincoln and Rutherford B. Hayes. Interesting family. Pretty damn impressive, actually.
Any of the Lowells still active?
There's still some around, yeah. Let me make sure I do this right. Nope. Why am I doing this wrong here?
Mouse wheel scroll?
I'm trying to get the change of page.
Yeah, mouse wheel.
What's that?
Mouse wheel?
Oh.
Do the arrows?
Yeah, I got it. I'm pushing the button and it's not doing it. Oh, no, that's not the right one. I'm sorry. Oh, no, that wasn't it either. Go see if you can get me back there. Back there. I didn't know. I was not being able to change the page. Okay, well, now we go to the next page.
Just wheel, mouse wheel.
Oh, you just push it.
Yep.
Push it back. Backwards?
Just
forward.
Just
Okay.
wheel.
Okay. Oh, there we go. Okay. That's easy enough. I'm good with astronomy, not computers. Okay. Percival Lowell, born March 13th. I missed that. I got to do this now. You're telling me. Why is this not doing what I want it to do? Oh, there we go. Okay, I think I got it. Percival Lowell graduated from Noble and Greeno School Community, known as Nobles, in 1872. That was an elementary school. JFK graduated from its elementary school, by the way, and Harvard College in 1876 with his distinction in mathematics. While at Harvard, he joined Delta Kappa Epsilon fraternity. At this college education, he gave a speech considered very advanced for its time on the nebular hypothesis. He was later awarded honorary degrees from Amherst College and Clark University. After graduation, he ran a cotton mill for 6 years. It was a family cotton mill, and it was a very, very well-known one in the East. And it was one of the sources of his. Oh, you can't hear me well enough? Okay. It was one of the sources of his great income, coming from his father, who was actually the owner of the cotton mill. let's see, why is there it is. In the 1880s, Lowell traveled extensively in the Far East. In August of 1883, he served as a foreign secretary and counselor for a special Korean diplomatic mission to the United States. He lived in Korea for about 2 months. He also spent significant periods of time in Japan, writing books on Japanese religion, psychology, and behavior. His texts were filled with observations and academic discussions of various aspects of Japanese life, including the language, religious practices, economics, travel in Japan, and the development of personality. Books by Lowell on the Orient include Noto, An Unexplored Corner of Japan in 1891, and Occult Japan, or The Way of the Gods in 1894. The latter from his third and final trip to the region is when he wrote that last book. His time in Korea inspired Chosun, The Land of the Morning Calm, in 1886, written in Boston, actually. The most popular of Lowell's books on the Orient was The Soul of the Far East in 1888. It contains early synthesis of some of his ideas that, in essence, postulated that human progress is a function of qualities of individuality and imagination. The writer, Lefcadio Hearn, called it a colossal, splendid, godlike book. At his death, he left with his assistant, Wexy Leonard, an unpublished manuscript of the book entitled Peaks and Plateau in the Effects on Tree Life. So he was pretty widespread in his knowledge without question at all. And again, why is it not doing it now? Oh, I think I see why. Aha, I found it. Oh, I'm actually very proud. Okay. Lowell was elected as a fellow of the American Academy of Arts and Sciences in 1892. He moved back to the United States in 1893. He became determined to study Mars and astronomy as a full-time career after reading Camille Flammarion, La Planète Mars. He was particularly interested in the canals of Mars, as was drawn by the Italian astronomer Giovanni Schiaparelli, who was director of the Milan Observatory. The Boston geologist George Russell Agassiz noted that Lowell made the decision to begin his observations after hearing that Schiaparelli began to experience failing eyesight. Beginning in the winter of 1893-94, using his wealth and influence, Lowell dedicated himself to the study of astronomy. Founding the observatory which bears his name, he chose Flagstaff, Arizona Territory as the home of his new observatory. At an altitude of over 2,100 meters, which is 6,900 feet, with few cloudy skies and far from city lights, Flagstaff was an excellent site for astronomical observations. This marked the first time an observatory elevated place in a remote elevated place for optimal seeing, which included enhanced image quality, sharpness, and steadiness. At his Flagstaff Observatory, Lowell favored the use of smaller telescopes rather than larger ones, believing that they were usually better for viewing fine planetary details. He was assisted in setting up his observatory by William Pickering, another observer of Mars, who had noted the lines seen by Schiaparelli as well. So you can see that he pushed his hobby initially, which became his life work. Percival Lowell could do this because he had a lot of cash, as they say, right? All right, moving along. Lowell was elected to the American Philosophical Society in 1897. In 1904, Lowell received the Prix Jules Janssen, the highest award of the Société Astronomique de France, the French Astronomical Society. For the last 23 years of his life, astronomy, Lowell Observatory, and others' work at his observatory were the focal point of his life. Some 15 years from 1893 to about 1908, Lowell studied Mars extensively, making intricate drawings of the surface markings as he perceived them. Lowell published his views in 3 books: Mars in 1895, Mars and its Canals in 1906, and Mars as the Abode of Life in 1908. With these writings, Lowell, more than anyone else, popularized the long-held belief that these markings showed that Mars sustained intelligent life forms. His works included a detailed description of what is he termed the non-natural features of the planet's surface, including especially a full account of the canals. Now, they were not really called canals by Schiaparelli. They were called channels is what it was called. So there was some confusion in this situation as to what is a channel as opposed to what is a canal. All right. And that was always a point of reference that he had to define for the public to get it. All right. And so what he was trying to do is he wanted to prove, obviously, that there was life that built them. His works included a detailed description of what he termed the non-natural features of the planet's surface, including especially a full account of the canals, single and double the cases, as he termed the dark spots at their intersections, and the varying visibility of both, depending partly on the Martian seasons. He theorized that an advanced but desperate culture had built the canals to tap Mars' polar ice caps and the last source of water on an inexorably drying planet. You can see this in the next picture here. You can notice the surface that they look on there. We'll get through that in a minute, though. While the idea excited the public, the astronomical community was obviously skeptical. Many astronomers could not see these markings, and few believed that they were as extensive as Lowell claimed. As a result, Lowell and his observatory were largely ostracized. Although the consensus was that some actual features did exist which would account for these markings, in 1909, the 60-inch Mount Wilson Observatory telescope in Southern California allowed closer observation of the structures Lowell had interpreted as canals and revealed irregular geological features, probably the result of natural erosion. The existence of the canal-like features was definitely disproved in 1960 by NASA's Mariner missions, Mariner 4, 6, and 7, and the other Mariner 9 orbiters, and the 9 orbiter in 1972 did not capture images of canals, but instead showed a cratered Martian surface. Today, the surface markings taken to be canals are regarded as an optical illusion. Psychologist Matthew J. Sharps, he's around, by the way, still, has argued the perception of the canals by Lowell and others could have been the result of a combination of psychological factors, including individual differences, reconfiguration, and socio-cognitive factors. And if you ask me about the definition of either one of them, you got no chance. All right. Okay. Again, when we take a look at this is the Lowell Observatory there. A nice picture of it. And then you have, that is a reflector in there. That's not the one that he built, actually. And of course, you see the surface of Mars and so on and so forth with the craters and such. Okay. Although Lowell was better known for his observations of Mars, he also drew maps of the planet Venus. He began observing Venus in detail in mid-1896, soon after the 61 centimeter or 24-inch Alvin Clark and Sons refracting telescope was installed in his new Flagstaff, Arizona observatory. So he was also friends with Alvin Clark and that family, and that apparently he saved some dollars, I guess, on that one because of the great friendship he had with them. Lowell observed the planet high in the daytime sky with a telescope's lens stopped down. What did I do there? Stopped down to 3 inches in diameter to reduce the effect of the turbulent daytime atmosphere. Lowell observed spoke-like surface features, including a central dark spot, contrary to what was expected then, and know now that Venus has no surface feature visible to the Earth, being covered in an atmosphere that is opaque. It has been noted in 2000 in a 2003 journal for the History of Astronomy paper, and in an article published in the Sky and Telescope in July of 2003, that Lowell stopping down the telescope created such a small exit pupil at the eyepiece, it may have become a great ophthalmoscope. Anyway, giving Lowell an image of the shadows of blood vessels cast on the retina of his own eye.
Same thing.
What's that?
Heard the same thing.
Yeah. He was so he's already built up this great possibility of life on Mars, and this great possibility of perhaps life producing some of this on Venus. Okay. Lowell's greatest contribution to planetary studies came during the last decade of his life, which he devoted to the search for the planet X, a hypothetical planet beyond Neptune. Lowell believed that the planets Uranus and Neptune were displaced from their predicted positions by the gravity of the unseen planet X. Lowell started a search program in 1906. A team of human computers led by Elizabeth Williams were employed to calculate predicted regions for the proposed planet. Let me just say quickly something about people like Elizabeth Williams, and many of you probably know this. Many of the women that worked with these great astronomers found the things that the astronomers claimed were theirs. And you find that all the way through history. They were minimized in what they were able to do. And it really started a movement among the women needed to get the men's eyes on the fact that, yeah, we did it. You didn't do it. We just helped you do it, type of thing. And I find that to be, and Percival Lowell was one of those that had these in his employ. And Elizabeth Williams was a fabulous astronomer all by herself.
Is that similar
Okay.
to Rosalind Franklin's notes?
What's that?
Is that similar to Rosalind Franklin's notes?
Pretty much. All right. Well, the program initially used a camera 5 inches or 13 centimeters in aperture. The small field of view of the 42-inch, 110 centimeter reflecting telescope rendered the instrument impractical for searching. From 1914 to 1916, a 9-inch, 23 centimeters telescope on loan from Lowell Observatory was used to search for planet X. Lowell did not discover Pluto, but later Lowell Observatory Code 690, would photograph Pluto in March and April of 1915. This picture here isn't very good over here on this side, but this picture next to Elizabeth Williams is actually a picture of Pluto in 1916, 1915 rather, and they didn't realize it was not a star. They thought it was a star. Understanding another factor evolved. When you look at the sky, those planets that are out there a bit don't look like they move much. And you look from night to night, you're not going to get the movement that you get from Venus or some of the other ones like that. And you get out there around the distance to Uranus and Neptune, and obviously Pluto, you don't get much movement. So they would look in the same place and there it would be. A little bit to do with the Earth's rotation, but it would be much more about the fact that they would pretty much be in the same place, even though they would not move, just the Earth would be rotating. So that's a very important point. Where are we going here? Okay, yes, that's where we're going. Okay, in 1930, Clyde Trumbo, working at the Lowell Observatory, discovered Pluto near the location expected for planet X. Again, Lowell thought that Pluto was the reason that Uranus and Neptune had perturbations in their orbit, where in fact, again, it was Neptune and Uranus that caused the perturbations of those two. Okay, so Pluto really didn't have anything to do with it. And want to know something? It was a shot in the dark that he was looking in that position because that object was not affecting it at all. That's a real interesting point. Okay. Pluto, partly in recognition of Lowell's efforts, the stylized PL art monument, by the way, Pluto is the god of the underworld, okay? And all the planets but two are named after Roman gods. The two are Earth and Uranus. Uranus is the god of the sky in Greek. And of course, the Earth is not named after that. So what happened was they put out a thing to figure out what we were going to name them. And so at that time was 1930. And guess what dog was going to be starting on them in the cartoons? Dog named Pluto. Do you remember that, right? And Pluto is the god of the underworld, so it fit. And what is the first two letters of Pluto? Percival Lowell, PL. That's the reason Pluto got named that. It was in honor of Percival Lowell, who predicted that it was there. I find that to be a pretty neat story. All right. It would subsequently emerge that the Planet X theory was mistaken. Remember what we said? It wasn't affecting that. Now we're talking about today, Planet 9, right? Or what do they call it? They're talking about the giant planet out there. The theories are right now that it may not be a planet. We can't see it if it is, but it may be just a bunch of junk in the Kuiper Belt that's there. Junk of meteor type stuff, and it's relatively close together. And again, it may be there. We don't know that yet, but it may not be a planet that they want it to be. A good sized planet like something the size of the Earth, perhaps. Okay, and a little bit about Clyde Trumbo. He was born in 1906. He passed away in 1997. He was an American astronomer. He said he discovered Pluto in 1930, the first object to be discovered in what would later be identified as the Kuiper Belt. At the time of discovery, Pluto was discovered. It's considered the ninth planet, but was reclassified a dwarf planet in 2006. Tombaugh had also discovered many asteroids. Does anybody want to take a guess how many asteroids he discovered? 800, by the way. All right. Tombaugh also discovered, like I said, many asteroids and called for a serious scientific research of unidentified flying objects. So everybody was going into the dance about people in space and all that other stuff. And of course, I can give you a whole speech on that. Tombaugh was born in Streator, Illinois, the son of Moran Delvaux Tombaugh, a farmer of Pennsylvania Dutch descent, and his wife was Adele Pearl Critton on February the 4th, 1906. He was the first of 6 children in the family, with his sister Esther being born 2.5 years after Clyde, followed by his brother Roy, Charles, Robert, and Anita. And a nice big family. And of course, he was born in 1906, and his youngest sister was born in 1929, so there's quite a spread there. Tombaugh's interest in astronomy appears to have begun when he had visited the Yerkes Observatory in Lake Geneva, Wisconsin. We all know that the Yerkes Observatory is the largest refractor in the world. Okay, and that's 48 inches. And they didn't make any big refractors after that because of the weight problem of grinding the lenses. It was easier to do it with large mirrors because you don't have that same pressure on it. Okay. When he visited Lake Geneva when he was 12 years old in 1918. His uncle Lee also helped spark his interest in astronomy, as he was an amateur astronomer who used a 3-inch diameter non-achromatic refractor telescope and gave him several astronomy-related books. Beginning in 1926, he built several telescopes with lenses and mirrors by himself. That was Clyde. To better test his telescope mirrors, Tambo was with just a pick and a shovel, dug a pit 24 feet long, 8 feet deep, and 7 feet wide. This provided a constant air temperature free of air currents and was also used by the family as a root cellar and emergency shelter. He sent drawings of Jupiter and Mars to the Lowell Observatory in Flagstaff, Arizona, which offered him a job. Tambo worked there from 1929 to 1945. Tambo continued searching for over a decade after the discovery of Pluto, and the lack of further studies left him satisfied that no other object of a comparable apparent magnitude existed near the ecliptic. No more trans-Newtonian objects were discovered until 15760 Albion in 1992. However, in 2005, the relatively bright object Make was discovered. It has a relatively high orbital inclination, but at the time of Tambo's discovery of Pluto, Make was only a few degrees from the ecliptic near the border of Taurus and Auriga at an apparent magnitude of 16. This position was also very near the galactic equator, making it almost impossible to find such an object with such a dense 14 years of looking for planets. He was drafted in July of 1943. Tambo looked for the motion in 90 million star images, 2 each of 45 million stars. Tambo died in January 17th, 1997 in Las Cruces, New Mexico at the age of 90. And I know a couple of people who did have an opportunity to meet him. I met him, and you said that you did too, right? He was a nice man. He really was. Pluto's mass could not be determined until 1978, when its satellite Charon was discovered. This confirmed what had been increasingly suspected. Pluto's gravitation on Uranus and Neptune is negligible, not nearly enough to account for the discrepancies in their orbits. In 2006, Pluto was reclassified as a dwarf planet by the International a problem with that one. And I think that it may cover it in a minute. Well, I can go through it real quickly with you. The issue with it was the Astronomical Union said three things. Let me do this. I don't want to get out of the microphone area. They talk about its size, number one. Now, Pluto was thought to be about 3,600 miles in diameter. How they came up with that figure, I have absolutely no concept of it, because Pluto is 1,450 or 70 miles in diameter. That's small, smaller than our moon. And Charon has a diameter of about 700 miles. Okay, so, and they orbit one another at a distance of 12,000 miles distance from each other. Now, if you add 700 and 1,400 and 12,000, you get a pretty big planet. If you went out that way, you'd have a planet bigger than the Earth, obviously, in that situation. And how they came up with the 3,600, I have no idea, because the 3,600, even if you added everything together, the rotation, you would figure they might make a mistake, because the rotation may seem like it's two sides of a planet instead of two planets, right? So The Astronomical Union, not that, but that's the general idea of it. So it's not it's a tiny planet, but I don't know where they got 3,600. I don't get that. Obviously, watching them probably caused that situation. So, and the Astronomical Union said that number one, it's small. Number two, its inclination of its orbit is 21 degrees off the plane of the ecliptic. All right. The only one that's like that, as a matter of fact, in the 248 years it takes to go around the sun, 12 years are spent inside the orbit of Neptune. We just went through that in the late 1980s or 1990s. That's one of them. So the issue with it, and then the third one said that it doesn't push out the matter in front of it. Okay. Well, if you know anything about science or astronomy, that's not so. Because yes, it doesn't push it out, but neither does Jupiter and neither does Earth. We don't do it to the degree that they're talking about. And that's what eliminated it from being a planet and then named a protoplanet. That's just my thought on it. So anyway, so they don't really know. If you found Pluto around another star, it would be an exoplanet, wouldn't it? Okay, so I rest my case. Yeah.
While you're on Tomball, there's an interesting side note.
Okay.
When NASA thought about sending Horizon out to Pluto, they went to his widow out of respect for Tomball and asked if they could go out to his planet.
I love that.
And excuse me, his widow said, yes, you can do that, but if you'll do something for me. And she says, here's a piece of his ashes. I want you to put him in that space.
I heard that one, yeah.
That was really great.
That is cool.
The online audience.
What's that? Oh, yeah. It was the point was that NASA was nice enough to go to Trambo's wife,
Right.
and the wife said, "Do you mind if we go to his planet?" And they said, "Yeah, okay, you can do it, but you got to take some of his ashes and take it with you."
And that's what did that.
And that's what they did it, and then they did that. That was very cool. That's fabulous. Okay. All right. So, in 2006, Pluto was reclassified as a dwarf planet by the International Astronomical Union. In addition, the discrepancies between the predicted and observed positions of Uranus and Neptune were found not to be caused by the gravity of an unknown planet. Rather, they were due to the erroneous values of the mass of Neptune. Voyager 2's 1989 encounter with Neptune yielded a more accurate value of this mass, and the discrepancies disappeared when using this value. So there you go on another point. Okay. World War I very much saddened Lowell, a dedicated pacifist. This, along with some setbacks in his astronomical work, described again in a minute, undermined for his health and contributed to his death from a stroke in November 12th, 1916, age 61. Lowell was buried in Mars Hill near this observatory. Lowell claimed to stick to the church, though at least one current author described him as an agnostic. The legacy. Although Lowell's theories of Martian canals or the surface of Venus features and of Planet X are now discredited, his practice of building observatories at the position that would best function have been adopted as a principle. He also established the program and setting which made the discovery of Pluto by Clyde Tombaugh possible. Lowell is described by other planetary scientists as, quote, the most influential popularizer of planetary science in America before Carl Sagan. Pretty nice. Move on. Okay, well, eventually disproved as an artifact of the ancient civilization, making desperate last efforts to survive significantly influenced the development of science fiction, starting with H.G. Wells' influential 1898 novel, The War of the Worlds, which made the further logical inference that creatures from a dying planet might seek to invade Earth. The image of the dying Mars and its ancient culture was retained in numerous versions and variations in most science fiction works depicting Mars in the first half of the 20th century. Even when proven to be factually mistaken, the vision of Mars derived from his theories remain enshrined in works that remain in print and widely read as classics of science fiction. Lowell's influence on science fiction remains strong. The Canals figure prominently in The Red Planet by Robert A. Heinlein in 1949. Do you have a better pronunciation? Thank you, Heinlein. And The Martian Chronicles by Ray Bradbury. That one's okay. 1950. The Canals and even Lowell's Mausoleum heavily influenced the Gods of Mars. Gods of Mars, that was written in 1918 by Edgar Rice Burroughs, as well as other books as the Barsoom series, they're called. By the way, and of course, asteroid 1886 Lowell, discovered by Henry Giglis and Robert Shalbdak in 1959, as well as the crater Lowell on the Moon and the crater Lowell on Mars, were named after him. The Lowell Regio on Pluto is also named in his honor after its discovery by the New Horizons spacecraft in 2015. On the 13th of March, 2006, Google celebrated Percival Lowell's 151st birthday with a doodle. And there's the doodle. Here's a more modern picture of the Lowell telescope. It is, what's that?
What size is that?
It is a 24-inch refractor. Okay, it still is a very, very high quality lens situation, and it is still used. But there are other, of course, everything superseded afterward. We're gone.
Wait a minute, 24-inch refractor?
Yeah, 24-inch refractor.
That's a monster.
Well, you know, the largest is 48. So, and then you got the I guess the one the Lick Observatory has, is it like the Lick? The one that has the 36-inch. That's the Lick Observatory in California.
I don't think that the Yerkes instrument is 48 inches.
Yeah.
It might be 38.
It's 40.
Yeah.
It might be 40.
Yeah.
Yeah,
40.
it may not be 48. I'm good with that. Okay. We have the other 8 inches in our telescope, right?
Yeah, well,
Okay. Percival Lowell was, yeah, although he had some issues that we talked about, he was a gentleman. He was a very philanthropic individual. Yes. Oh, I did it again. All right. He was a very philanthropic individual. He was had a nice family. He's there are some of his children are still operating. The history of his family is spectacular. I mean, the fact that one of his great grandfather worked for George Washington, and I thought that was pretty neat. And does anybody have any questions at all at this point? No? Okay. Yes, go ahead.
Not a question, I have a
Comment, go.
A lot of people don't know that the Lowell Observatory was actually his third choice for how to spend the money. I remember the first one, but being in San Francisco, person lived there. The second choice, he wanted to build a giant statue of him right off of Golden Gate Park, be like 200 foot tall, 300 foot tall. And people in San Francisco said, I don't think so.
Don't think so.
So they said, well, I got some money. How can I spend it? So we said, well, how about an observatory?
I didn't know that part of the story. That's very, very cool. Yeah.
I don't remember what the first choice, but I think it was actually a pyramid. He wanted to build a pyramid somewhere, but I'm not certain on that.
Well, the significant thing that he did really, and I mentioned that in the early going, was really putting a telescope on a mountain. And that turned out to be, you know, a very, very big step for astronomers is what it happened to do.
Away from all this.
Yeah. And also when we talk about Mars, there's a lot of work now talking about Mars, is that Mars surface changes an awful lot. It is affected by probably the melting of some of the ice caps and things like that change the surface of Mars significantly over a period of time. And at first they figured, when they looked at Jupiter, you know, they saw the red spot and a couple other things like that, but basically it was the same thing. They've seen motion since then, and also some of the other planets as well. But he was locked onto his thought process that Mars had canals, and he went to his grave still believing they were there, you know, even though that had been proven. Yes.
Why do you think glass refractors hit that limit of size?
What's that?
Why did refractors, glass refractors, hit that upper limit that really didn't make sense to
I mean the 3600?
Yeah, go further to make larger ones?
Well,
It's a whole class just by itself.
yeah, I could spend another hour on that, but the fact is that, you know, what it did, we have a lot of objects in space that have a lot of things to them. I don't know whether if you take a look at, for example, I do something online right now I call Astronomy of the Week, and right now I'm going through the Messier objects. And what happened was you would find one astronomer would find this object, and then somebody a little bit later on, usually like a William Herschel or something like that, would resolve the object like a cluster, for example, into its individual stars. They would be able to do that. And so every time we looked at something, we saw something new. It just didn't make sense to us. You take a look at some of the groups of galaxies that you have and everything like that. They're very interesting, each galaxy in that group. And that's what these other astronomers, Messier was very good at that. He used to make a lot of things like that, a better resolution of them. And again, William Herschel's one of the best of those like that. And you had many, many astronomers that found things and couldn't explain them. And with a more powerful telescope, you're able to break it down and give it a little bit better definition, if you want to call it that.
But there must be some kind of upper limit to
Well,
glass, why you can't make it any larger.
Well, the point is right now we've got the James Webb out there.
Right.
And that's doing some really, really great work as far as doing it. And also, you're not just talking about the visible light. You're talking about the infrared. You're talking about the other things in it. You're talking about objects that are made up of stuff that we can't figure out. We only know about 5% of the universe, really. Everything else is dark matter or dark energy. Can you explain that? We can't yet.
But I think the answer you're looking for is that it takes a tremendous amount of effort to make big lenses.
Right.
And they weigh tons.
That's the problem with the lenses.
Yeah, the upper limit for refractors is set by gravity. You
Right,
can only
correct.
support lenses, refractors at the edges, whereas you can
That is exactly the point.
The folded optics aspect of Cassegrain type telescopes is another good reason. Because
Yeah.
You can a telescope that's 20 feet long that's a refractor can evade half that length, if not less, because of folded optics.
And
That's a lot of advantage. Yeah.
And with the lenses we're talking about, there's distortion when you get to a certain size that you cannot get it to stay the way it's supposed to be stay. That's why they went to reflectors, because they don't have that problem. That's virtually the reason.
A 36 inch is not the limit of a telescope, the upper size. That's just the limit of the refractor.
Right.
Right.
Because they've got mirrors that are far beyond that.
Oh, you got a 200-inch mirror at Palomar.
Yeah.
All right. And you've got much larger ones in the south, but it's 1,500 or something. I don't remember what the number is, but they're huge. Any other questions at all? Thank you very much for your time. Appreciate it. Grab this away from you. You can break that down to whatever and I'm good.
All right. Well, thank you, Ken. All right. So our next star party is in 2 days, next Saturday. Our next board meeting is in 4 days, next Monday. And some of us meet afterwards at the National Coney Island at Grospec, just south of 12 Mile for gastronomy. So, and with that, the meeting is over. Clear skies and happy Thanksgiving, everyone.
Anytime you have a question.
Evening.
If I give you a wrong answer, just come back.
Goodbye, people online.